Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Great Black Speaker Spotlight. And today's Great Black Speaker is Stephanie Thomas. Stephanie Thomas is a disability fashion stylist and founder of Curatable.com, a lifestyle brand helping people with disabilities live life out loud and in style. 25 years ago, Stephanie started following clothing trends for people with disabilities. At that time, she couldn't believe the oversight by the fashion industry, but as she continued to study, she quickly learned this issue has less to do with style aesthetic and more to do with perceptions of people with disabilities. She has also worked as an on-air personality for radio, television, and new media. Stephanie has two graduate degrees, one in communications and the other in fashion journalism, and she has taught fashion marketing for 6 years. As an LA-based disability fashion stylist, Stephanie dresses celebrities and influencers with disabilities for industry events, red carpets, and photo shoots. So now let's go ahead and dive right into our interview with Stephanie Thomas. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. We have a wonderful, wonderful speaker here this time around on our Great Black Speaker Spotlight. We have Stephanie Thomas. And Stephanie Thomas is going to tell us a bit about what she does and why she decided to go into this particular industry. So thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So tell me a bit about what it is that you do and why you decided to venture into this particular profession.
I like to say that it chose me,
Mhm.
but I was born with what is referred to often as non-severe disabilities. I have one thumb and I'm missing digits on my feet. And so I've basically been a disability fashion stylist all my life. I just hadn't really given it a title, meaning that I've had to adjust the way that I dress in order to be able to dress with dignity and independence, as
Mhm.
well as be able to make shopping for shoes and things like that fun and not wrestle with buttons. So that's kind of my background. But the background for my business is
Mhm.
when I was in college, my pageant coach, I was doing pageants to win scholarship money. She asked me why I never buttoned my left cuff, and I told her I hadn't thought about it. And so she said, "Had you ever thought about clothing for people with disabilities?" And that was over 2 decades ago. And I've been obsessed with it ever since. Like, I just studied everything about it. And
Mhm.
about 2010, I started my own blog. But what I found is that I wanted to present people with disabilities in a certain way, and I couldn't find the images. So I started taking photos and doing things. I started styling. I developed the styling system in 2004 and was just using it for everyday people. But then in 2010, I was like, I need images for my blog. And what's beautiful about that is that that has basically parlayed into what is now Curatable. And Curatable is a disability fashion lifestyle website and social media brand
Mhm.
that helps people with disabilities live life out loud and in style.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that story. I know we've spoken a bit offline about it. And when you told me about it, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I never really thought about that before. And it makes so much sense. It's so much sense, right? So, how long have you been doing it? How long have you been in this particular sector? Because you said that was over 2 decades ago. But when did
25
you?
years.
Wow.
Yes, 25 years.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That is such a long time. My goodness.
And you
So,
know what's so interesting is, like,
mm,
I don't really think about it until people from
mhm,
college are like, "Oh, I remember when you started talking about this." And
yeah.
what happened was I stayed involved, but I still worked in the media. I was a television reporter, producer. I worked in radio for 8 years. And then, honestly, if I can just tell you really quick, what happened was while shopping for family during a holiday season in 2006, I saw this great London fog coat. It just had all of the details of a designer jacket, but it was for a little dog. And it
Um,
just made me outrageously
yeah.
angry because I'm thinking, I've had enough.
Mm,
Sure, I've
mm,
helped people here and there. I've
mhm,
researched, I reach out to designers all the time at that point. But I was like, I need to make a huge change. So I packed away my clothes. And actually, this month is my 10-year anniversary of the PJ DJ campaign. I was on a morning show, and I decided to pack away all of my clothes and wear only PJs marked the PJ DJ for a whole year to raise awareness. And after that, I went back to grad school. I left radio. That's when I said, you know what? I want to commit my life to really making a change within the industry.
Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Now,
thank you.
Within this sector, I'm sure that, you come up against a lot of obstacles and a lot of hurdles that you have to overcome. But I want to talk to you specifically to some of the racial issues that may happen or may not happen. Tell us a bit about some of the things that you've come up against, because I'm sure, the thing about disabilities is that it's widespread.
Sorry to laugh, but yes.
Yeah.
How long do you have? How long do you have?
I'm sure. And so I definitely want you to, if you could just pick out maybe one or two stories that really stick out in your mind. But what I wanted to say was, it's so widespread, right? We have disabilities aren't just narrowed down to just one race or one ethnicity or anything like that. You have to cross all of these different barriers. So tell me a bit about some of the things that you've kind of overcome being in this particular field and some of the things you've had to go up against.
Well, I think you're right on point, just because you basically nailed it. Disability does not discriminate.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. It doesn't matter your religious belief. You can become a person with a disability, but that is also not a death sentence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So redefining disability is what I do. But the two main examples that I can give you. The first way that I interact with what I will call them racial and social barriers would be that, first of all, I'm a woman thinking of these ideas. So I'll sit next to people or I'll present some. This was early on. It's changing just a little bit now. But early on, it was, oh, if this is such a big idea, why are you coming up with it?
Wow.
I would hear that all the time. I was like, yeah, if this is really what it is, if they're really the largest minority group in this country, why are you the person doing it? Why are you the person talking about it? And I'd have to say, well, I'm not the first, but in my particular area, this is what I do. And another form of discrimination often happens too, is just people have these ideas of what a person with a disability should be, what they should look like. And then they have an idea of who that person should be that should be advocating for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then, and it's not me. It's never me. And then even when, and here's something that's ironic too, I generally use modern classics and I dress people with disabilities like I would want, I co-create with them. But sometimes people will want to do a story on me and then they'll want to pull these pitiful images of the people with a disability, or the first thing they'll say, is it a not-for-profit? I'm like, well, no, it's not a not-for-profit. These are like legitimate fashion customers. And so my main barriers ethnically are from people in the past. It's changing a lot now, but a lot of people just don't expect me to be the spokesperson or the brain behind it. As a woman, and especially as a Black woman. And then there is a difference in the disability community in general of the Black person with a disability and the non-Black person with a disability.
Wow, really?
And how that should be interpreted.
Yeah.
It's almost like you overcome, I can't say there's less sympathy, but it's almost like, okay, fight through. You're strong, fight through. And then for other people, it's like, oh, you're so inspirational, even the slightest thing you do. So I don't think that it's unique to disability. I think if someone's culturally unaware, they bring that cultural unawareness to disability, and it just magnifies their lack of understanding of the cultural sensitivities or sensibilities or whatever. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, completely makes sense.
So, and honestly, what's incredible about this, well, at least the adaptive fashion industry, is that it is primarily fueled by women's passion to empower their family members, their friends. It is an incredible industry.
Yeah.
Even though I'm kind of on the outskirts of that as a stylist, what I've created with Curatable, I've said, until the fashion industry gets it together, here's a tool, my disability fashion styling system that you can use until they get that together. So the way I fight bias is I create beautiful multi-ethnic images.
Wow.
I don't exclude Black people because we would be a part of this. I don't exclude full figure people. I don't exclude people in general. I just like to represent all types of beauties who
Yeah.
tend to live their lives with disabilities. So that's how I fight that.
Wow. And I love that. I love that. Now, tell me a bit about your speaking topics, because it sounds like you can speak about a whole lot of different things. But tell me about your speaking topics and what you normally speak about.
Well, the first thing I speak about, depending on the crowd. So someone in the fashion industry or just in the corporate industry in general, as a woman, you know, they want to know about empowerment. I mean, tenacity, 25 years. How do you continue saying yes when other people say no?
Mm-hmm.
I often have an opportunity, and producers are really happy to talk to me for segments and, you know, public speaking, because they're like, oh, this is another look at disabilities through a new lens.
Exactly.
So I talk about dressing the body, but that impacts self-efficacy, that impacts self-esteem, that impacts so much of who the person is at their core. It gives me a chance to shine a light on who a person is with a disability. I also speak about diversity and how when you talk about diversity, the D in diversity has to include disability. You cannot talk diversity and not talk disability. I talk about, like I said, tenacity, trailblazing, seeing a vision and staying focused when no one else sees it. I talk about being a woman at work. I talk about sacrifices. You know, how do you stay motivated? And I also like to just talk to people about how to dress with disabilities. That's another one. I get people that say, I'm going into the workforce. Can you come in and do just a presentation on your disability fashion styling system, which is what my TEDx talk is all about. It's all about my disability fashion styling system and how it's a bridge between where we are right now and where the fashion industry is going. So I like to say that I speak very well to colleges, because as an adjunct for 15 years, I know what it's like to be in the classroom. So I can go into college settings. I know how to start a conversation and facilitate a conversation. It's more of I like to have more of a conversation in those settings than just a lecture, because generally what I say often sparks ideas. And so in the college setting, I facilitate conversations. In corporate settings, depending upon what they're trying to get, even if they're just trying to understand the person with a disability, who they are, shopping needs, different things like that. Sometimes people bring me in for that. I also do a lot of speaking about not giving up and how to be seen as influential, and not just that, oh, you're so inspirational, you know, oh, you're a person with a disability, you're so inspirational. Are you still there? I had a call. No one ever calls me. I don't know if you can edit this, but literally I've just gotten like, you see me keep doing this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, nobody ever wants to talk to me. So now they call. And I can't put it on airplane mode or we couldn't be doing this. So
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
sorry
totally
about
okay. No, it's fine. I can totally edit it out. That's okay. We'll
Okay.
start. We'll just pick up from where we were, because I wanted to
Am
sneak.
I answering your questions at
No,
all?
you are great, girl. Do your
Okay.
thing. Do your thing. That's why I muted myself, because I didn't want to keep saying, yeah, and you know, so I mute myself because I tend to do that a lot. So, Fashion Expo. Yes, I wanted to kind of merge into that. All right.
Okay. It's the
Oh, hold on.
ability.
Let me ask you, and then we're gonna move into it, because I'm gonna edit from where you.
Okay.
So you've talked a bit about, you know, your speaking abilities and your speaking topics. Now, tell me a bit about this expo that you have coming up.
Okay, this is exciting because the Abilities Expo has been around for a while. You can go to an Abilities Expo in New York, Sacramento, Chicago, different places around the nation and now around the world, but they have never had a style suite at an Abilities Expo. And just for people that are not familiar with the Abilities Expo, it's all things disabilities, how to help your loved ones, if you're a caretaker, if you work in occupational therapy, or if you just want to learn about products that are great for people with disabilities, from how to have your car adjusted, different products for your vehicles, different clothing options. So they're bringing me in, and Curatable, they're bringing Curatable Style Suite to the LA market. It's the first of its kind. And basically it's a styling session. So the very first day, March 24th, I'm going to bring in my curators, which are my contributors to Curatable on curatable.com or any of our social media. And we're going to talk about style and dressing and challenges, and I will style them for that particular panel. And then people will have an opportunity to sign up to have styling sessions with me all weekend long. And I'll have clothing there that's adaptive clothing, disability friendly clothing from brands they can find in the mall. And I'll be able to, after I do my presentation, I'll be able to work one-on-one. We'll have a form that they can fill out so they can have a better understanding of their body type, what they should be looking for, some brands that may work really well for them. So it's an interactive experience, and it's March 24th through the 26th here in LA at the Convention Center downtown, and it's going to be really fun.
Well, that's awesome. I love, love, love that idea. And congratulations on being invited to do that. I mean, I think that's a big, huge step in the right direction, right?
I love it. I'm really excited about it because it really empowers the people that need it. A lot of times I'll get caregivers. They just want to touch the clothing that they see online, because most adaptive clothing, I don't know if you know this, but even though we have wheelchair accessible stores and we have wheelchair accessible dressing rooms, which, by the way, if I can pause, can I just say, if you're watching this and you work at a retail store, hashtag not for storage, wheelchair accessible, dressing rooms are not for storage. When I go in with my clients, I just went in somewhere and they tried to stick us in literally a little box because they said, oh, we have storage in these dressing rooms.
Oh, wow.
So we have all of this in the stores because of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but there are no clothing for seated body types on the floors, no retail real estate dedicated to it. So most of the time that people do their shopping, it's online. So this is almost like a little pop-up store without selling, but to give people a chance to touch and feel and try on the clothes themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And yeah, you know what? You're absolutely correct on that. Yes, I have seen that happen. And yeah, definitely. So definitely we need to share that hashtag, right? We need to get that.
Yeah. Oh, we need another one too. Just because you and your friend want to try on clothes together doesn't mean that you should be in the wheelchair accessible dressing room. Like, it's so awkward though. Like, and then they get mad because someone that's using a wheelchair actually shows up. It's kind of awkward. You're like,
yeah.
And they're like, it's just awkward all the way around.
And
but I'm confident that it's changing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like I said, we definitely need to get that hashtag circulating through all the interwebs and taking over the digital media space for sure.
Yes.
Now, moving on and changing kind of gears here just a tad bit. Tell me a bit about some of your projects. Well, it's not too much, but tell me a bit about some of your projects that you're currently working on and some of the big goals that you may have for Curatable.
So basically, one of the big projects we just started, we're building the company on more of a national level now. So I have a partnership with a really lovely team in New York, and we are now being that bridge between adaptive fashion, people with disabilities, and the mainstream fashion industry. So a lot of collaboration with other fashion brands, because a lot of people want to know now how to reach out to people with disabilities. And so those are some exciting collaborations. We just did a lovely photo shoot in the desert with an amazing photographer. There's a minute-long video on our Instagram or on our YouTube if you ever want to check it out. It's really great. It's with a Paralympian, Katie Sullivan. She's a medal-winning Paralympian and an actress and a producer. That was a real exciting product. That we just produced with Morning Star. She's an amazing photographer here. And I have some shoots coming up throughout the year, the one really exciting thing that we're working on is we want to start to create more opportunities to interact with our audiences. And we're doing that through our social media. I'm making sure that our curators are live, because our curators represent people that are living with different disabilities, but they're either in Hollywood, or they're hosts on TVs, or they're showrunners or producers. And a lot of times people want to just interact and say, how are you doing this? What can I learn from you? So that's something we're really excited about.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, definitely. Please, please, please use that digital media space to spread your message. Definitely.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us a bit about your most memorable speaking experience? Is there one experience that kind of sticks out in your mind as being the most memorable?
Yeah, I mean, as of recent, I would have to say my TEDx talk.
Okay.
It's the most memorable to me because you really don't know the impact you have on someone's life until you do something like that. And what I mean by that is I presented the very first fashion show on a TEDx stage as a part of my TEDx talk.
Wow.
And one of my models, I dressed all the models according to my disability fashion styling system. And one of my models, we didn't know that she was diagnosed with a brain injury and was told that she wouldn't be around much longer. And so her parents wound up, young girl too, beautiful young girl. I didn't know this at the time, but at the end, her mom sent us the sweetest letter, and she just said, thank you for allowing our daughter to be a part of this. The doctors didn't think she would still be alive at this time. So to be able to have her on this video and as a part of this groundbreaking show means a lot. And plus, for me, it was amazing to stand there and to share what has been in my heart for so long. Like I'll talk to people about staying motivated or empowering people or being a woman in the workplace, but to actually talk about my journey and to talk about why I'm doing this, what I'm doing, and just be able to share that in that platform. There were 1,200 people at the third largest TEDx in Canada. And that was impactful for me. And that was just last summer. So for me right now, all of my speaking engagements are special, but that one just stands out to me because of the young lady that was in the show.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I can totally see how that would definitely stand out to you.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're impacting not just your own life and getting up and, providing information and speaking and education, but you're also impacting the lives of others that are there with you in that moment and experience. So that's awesome.
And can I say something?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that makes me different as a speaker. I think what makes me special. Yeah, I have 25 years. Yes, I've been an adjunct professor for 15 years. Yes, I have worked in television and radio and voiceovers, and I've done things. I understand media. I went back to school to fully understand fashion. I've studied and researched disabilities. But I think what makes my experience and the people that bring me in, what makes the experience special and different and something that makes them want to call me back over and over and over again is because I'm not talking at people. I'm having a conversation. And so it can be a room from 200 or from 20 to 200 to 2,000 to 100,000. And I just like to talk to real people. I like to have a conversation. I like to get hands raising, kind of rhetorical questions. I like to get people involved because we learn and feed off of each other's energy. Yeah. We learn from each other. It's not just about me. And I guarantee when I become vulnerable and I'm not in there like, I'm going to tell you all this stuff and I'm just sharing with you because I'm important and you not, what comes from the heart touches the heart. And I'm always invited back because I'm open to learn even as I'm giving.
Love it. Well, that's great. What comes from the heart? What did you say? What comes from the heart goes to the heart, right?
Yep. What comes from the heart reaches, goes to the heart. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Completely, wholeheartedly agree.
Thank you. I agree too.
Yes, for sure. Now, tell me a bit about being a great Black speaker. Like, what does that mean to you, and how does it kind of impact your life? Tell me what that means to you.
Well, I feel like it's an honor. It's something that I sought out when I read about it, and it was something that I personally wanted to be associated with, because in my mind, when my children's children's children and other children that are in fashion design, fashion marketing, psychology, or their sociology classes, and they talk about clothing for people with disabilities or fashion styling for people with disabilities, I'm going to be in those books.
Yeah.
And being a great Black speaker reminds me every day that we are making history.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm a part of something very special, something that goes beyond just being a part of a speakers bureau. I feel like it brings a lot of history. I feel like it says, although less than 15% of the nation,
Yeah.
huge impact on the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a place where you can come and find people that are notable, that are experts in their field, that have been vetted, and you can get quality information, and you can even get people that understand their cultural placement in a sense. What I mean by that is, yeah, I'm African American. I understand the impact of my culture even within my field.
Yeah.
So I feel honored to be a part of it. I don't know if that answered any of your questions. Those are my thoughts. Those are my feelings.
No, it's a really open-ended question, really truthfully.
Yeah.
However you decide to take it.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, there are a lot of speakers bureaus.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of ways that you can do it, but I felt like this was a good match for me, because I don't think people think of fashion when they think of disability. And I don't think when it's those times of year, I have to help people think about when they can bring me in. So let me do that now. You don't need to wait till just the Americans with Disabilities Act. We have Veterans Day. We have October is Disability Employment Awareness Month. April is Autism Awareness. We have World Day, Disability World Day around, maybe you want to talk about powerful women. Well, let's include people with disabilities in that conversation. Maybe you want to talk Black History Month. How about including people that were occupational therapists or doctors or rehab professionals that were African Americans, and how their impact has empowered me to do the work that I'm doing. There's so many ways to include disability in the conversation that oftentimes I just love being able to reach out to this, because something that I have to say to you is that my personal faith is Christianity, right? Mm-hmm. So within that faith, a lot of times people with disability experience discrimination, not because people don't like people with disabilities, but what's the first thing they tell you when you come in the church if you're sick?
To pray.
Let's get you out of that wheelchair.
Yeah.
We're going to touch and agree,
mm-hmm.
because the Lord has, honey, I don't know how many people have told me God has thumbs in heaven for me. It's not that I don't think that he has thumbs in heaven for me.
Yeah.
I don't think he made a mistake.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
So for people with disabilities and in certain sectors of African American culture, it's not as taboo in many Asian cultures, but it's still that feeling that you can overcome this. Mm-hmm. You can, as opposed to how do you live out loud and in style with this?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So I want, that's that second part of my strategic goal of being with Great Black Speakers. We can embrace people with disabilities, and it doesn't mean that they somehow did something wrong to be this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think, and that actually is a great segue into my next question. My next question is, if someone is looking to go into the same field that you're in, if they're looking to kind of follow you and what you've done, and become that next generation of, you call you, You've already answered the question before I've ended. Okay, so just give you.
Go ahead.
That's okay.
I'm just having fun.
No,
I'm
I
just
get
having
it.
fun.
No, that's totally fine. Totally fine. Now, if they decided to call you, or if they, let's say they're in another country, or they're somewhere around the world, or let's say they're watching this video via virtual YouTube, and it's little figures of us sitting on a table somewhere.
Okay.
Like, 50 years or 60 years into the future, what would you tell them?
Well, fortunately, if they're 50 years in the future, if you're watching this 50 years in the future, there will be books. I will have books out by then.
Yeah.
But what I would tell them is, sincerely, Stacey London of What Not to Wear, I don't know if you remember that show. I had the honor of training with her after I developed my disability fashion styling system in 2010, when I was just like, oh, I've got to do more. And she said, I don't know anyone else that's doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. So unfortunately, I can't send them to the teams because I literally made up disability fashion styling. So my book will be out, I'm sure, before 2020. That would be a resource. Or they can really just reach out to me right now, and I'm happy to share with them. They can follow me at curatable.com. They can see what my curators are talking about. They can follow the fashion industry. And if they are interested, I'm gonna give you 3 tips. The first thing I would do is to research not only the adaptive fashion industry, but I would research the fashion industry. We're having our Napster moment right now. And what I mean by that is that the fashion industry is being confronted with kind of a pushback on the speed of fashion, with Zara and H&M and Forever 21 being able to turn those trends from the runways around so fast. Burberry and Tommy Hilfiger were like, stop, we're done with this fast fashion calendar. They're doing 2 seasonless shows a year for men and women. Seasonless means no Pantone colors. I don't know if you understand what that means. That's part of how each year when new colors come out, when these colors, it's like, oh, this color is in, that color is in. Okay. That's Pantone color. When they say we're going to do seasonless, they're having their Napster moment. They're having this disruptive technology right now, which is making room for adaptive fashion. And Tommy Hilfiger is also leading the way in that. He does have an adaptive fashion line right now online for children with disabilities. So number 1, pay attention to the fashion industry. Number 2, learn everything you can about garment construction. And then start to read and pay attention to whatever area you're interested in, be it the whole body, dexterity challenges, seated body types. All seated body types are not created equal. Some people live with, paraplegia. Some people live with what's known universally as tetraplegia. So you kind of want to find out as much as you can. Pick a niche, stick to it. Don't do it because you think there's going to be money there. In this, you've got to love it, because this is not a sprint. This is like long form, cross country, need to take a break, get some water, start all over again. That's all I can say. A lot of times people get in, they get really excited, and then they get burned out really fast. So take your time, ask questions, and study, study, study.
Oh, I think that's a great 3 points, by the way. And thank you so much for providing me some fashion education. I have no idea. However, it does pique my interest. So yeah, definitely. It's something I'll probably look into and research, because that's a big piece of who I am. I just love finding out new information. So I would
love for people to learn what I do, because
definitely.
I think that, it's such a great need. There's no way I can meet all of the need.
Yeah.
But I did strategically sell everything I own and move to California, because local news is international news here.
Right.
And so by dressing athletes and celebrities, influencers with disabilities, I get to touch more people faster, and I get to have a greater impact.
Wow. Okay. So if there's someone living in, I don't know, Idaho or something like that, that wants to pursue it, your advice to them would be to move to where it's kind of happening and buzzing,
No,
or?
no, they don't have to with technology. I just, as a thought leader and as a trailblazer in this area, I knew
Gotcha.
that I need to connect in a certain way. And I can Skype with them from anywhere, and they just need to start studying. If you don't need to be a fashion student to do it, you could be an engineering student with an interest in solving problems. You could be a sociology student with an interest in helping to empower people. You could be a history student. Like it, I'm happy to talk to anyone to show them how, if they're interested in this field, they can really do whatever they like. There's so much room for so many people. But the exciting thing, when I first started working with someone new, I'm going to make this really short. She was like, oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities. You know, we got to be the first. I said, baby,
Yeah.
I have been involved with this for 25 years. Sit back, relax. Our time is in God's hands. Everything that's for me is for me. Everything that someone else can do is for them. And anything that happens outside of me helps to legitimize this industry. So take a deep breath. It's not about competitors. It's about bringing what you have to offer to this field.
I totally agree with you. I think that's something that we learn over time. Now, I want to switch gears just a tad bit and ask you about millennials. Do you work with a lot of millennials? And then
yes, I do. Did I make a face? Did I make a face?
You didn't necessarily make a face. However, I know that is a I don't want to say issue, but it's a thing in the millennial area there that we, so I want to hear kind of your thoughts about that. And you talk about a lot about fashion and the fashion forward and, how this is all taking place with this new age group that's moving into the arena now.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah. I actually love millennials. I make that face because I'm just going to say you guys are funny.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, but I love your spirit though. I love everyone in that particular age group is supposed to feel like they know everything. That's a part of the humility that you get in your 30s where you go, okay. And then by the time you're 40, you go, oh, I knew nothing then, but it's part of the process. So I appreciate that.
It's a growth process. Definitely.
It is a growth process. But my interns obviously are millennials. And I think what I love about millennials is because they're saying, I will be, very interesting group. They are not limiting themselves to gender identification, body type identification, everything that you thought you knew. It's not even happening that way. I actually love millennials because they're not afraid to define themselves. Now, I have to preface that by saying a lot of the defining that's happening is based on celebrity, is based on comparing themselves to, I don't even know what it would be like to grow up with, social media. And then every girl you see on Instagram, it's like, her face is all beat. I mean, like when I was in high school, can we say awkward? Like, didn't know how to do. I mean, like I was still doing the little, the little ponytails. Like, who knew how to do that type of makeup and stuff in high school? So I feel like they're going to push the industry too, which helps me because millennials with disabilities, they're just like, that's your problem, not mine. And they're making people see them unapologetically.
I completely agree. And it really is that whole like factor, right? And having to, like you said, compare yourself and knowing, oh, this picture only got 10 likes versus this picture that got,
Yeah, it's weird.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and I think what I do too, on a serious note, is really important for millennials that struggle with their self-identity, with and without disabilities, because I think that they are constantly looking at other people. And the thing about the way I was born, which very strategic, God, I love it. The way I was born was that you don't know that I have a disability until you see it. So when I'm in front of college students. So when I'm speaking to college students in particular, and I'm talking to them and I'm just kind of vibing with them, and they'll look at me and they say, oh, she's attractive or whatever. But then when I tell them I have, 3 toes on one foot or 4 on the other, and I wasn't supposed to really walk and I have one thumb, they go, oh, like I wouldn't have even known. She's so confident. Da, 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 da. So I think it's important for them to see beyond celebrity. They need to say, oh, wow, there's a whole other world out there beyond Instagram likes. Oh my gosh, I forced my students to put their phones, I would put mine in first in a box. Like and one of my students just decorated it. So when you walked in my class, all the phones went in a box, including mine, because I needed them to detox. I needed them to be present. So getting them to be present and interacting with other human beings, they get to learn that we are more alike than we are different, and that even the girl with 600,000 likes on Instagram has her own insecurities, has things that she look at and say, oh, I wish this was this way or this was that way. And it's just helpful. My message is even helpful to them to say that slaying starts with your character. And yes, I believe in snatching brows, and don't look at mine today, but I believe in looking nice. I believe in using beauty and fashion style as a tool to empower yourself and express yourself, but it's only a part of who you are. So my message has a really strong impact on people that struggle with their own self-esteem issues, especially my millennials.
Yeah. And I absolutely adore that, because you never know, and I'm glad that you said that, because oftentimes you think disability, you think I need to see it in order for it to be real. And I deal with that a lot in the mental health field as well. And oh
yeah, the invisible disabilities.
Exactly. And it's like, it's supposed to look a certain way. And it's like, no, it isn't, because it's very individualized. So it's not supposed to look the way you think it's supposed to look. It is the way the person is dealing with whatever is going on. And so there's things going on that you may not see, and that
right. Depression is a huge thing right now too.
Yes.
I know, if you deal in that industry, and it's clinical to the point now where it is being diagnosed that it's debilitating, where it is being considered in some areas as a disability because they cannot function because of the depression. And so that's the downside to it. I just have fun with my topics, because when people think of disability, they don't often laugh.
Same thing here. It's like everything you're saying is resonating.
Because,
it's the same thing here.
And sometimes people be like, well, I kind of wanted to bring you in, but I didn't know. But now that I've met you, I see that how you deliver the message. Or they'll say, oh, I didn't want to feel guilty. And I'm thinking, I get it. But I think you can have a conversation about difference and differences without it making you feel guilty.
Definitely. And I often say, talking about depression doesn't have to be depressing. Like we're already talking about an issue.
It doesn't have to be.
But it doesn't have to be depressing. It doesn't have to now trigger something in you to where now you feel like, oh,
Right. And what's interesting? Someone told me, they said, honestly, I never wanted to talk about disabilities because it makes everyone face their mortality. Like people often associate getting older with becoming disabled or getting a disability. Both of my parents are fully functional. They do not have disabilities. There are going to be people my age, your age, and younger that have disabilities, not just as a result of getting older, but a lot of people don't want to think of that. But the thing that makes Curatable special, that makes what I do special, is it shows how I'm dancing with my church this weekend in a West African dance presentation for Black History Month, barefoot, I'm just like, they're pedicured, always clean. So don't cry for us.
Yeah.
You get it? It's like we can, and this shouldn't make you feel bad. This should make you feel empowered. Like the stuff that I was thinking about is a little silly because it's like, oh wait, she wasn't even supposed to walk, and I was standing there with the best of them, shoes off, pedicure toes, standing there like, let's go, let's do this. My balance may be a little bit off at first, but I think it makes people feel free,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this city. La La Land is very special.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Especially for a chocolate woman with natural hair.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's very different. I will say that. I love California. We have no snow. It's raining a little now, but it's still 69. My windows are open, but it's very, well, you're here. It's very different.
It is. It is.
So,
It's very different than any other place. And I frequent Los Angeles, so I totally understand.
yeah. You have to hit me up when you come down next time.
I definitely will. I definitely will. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being on the Speaker Spotlight. And please, please tell our audience where they can find you, find out more information about you, all of your links. Go ahead and give yourself the biggest shout out, girl.
Okay, so you can find me by logging on to CUR8ABLE.com. That's Curatable. So CUR8ABLE.com, and that will give you Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Snapchat is also Curatable.com. So, I mean, Curatable, not Curatable.com. And then you can find our website, which we've just revamped at Curatable.com. And we love it. We've got some beautiful video banners that give you more insight into the work we do. We've got our curators featured, and if you want to bring us in to talk or share, it's just a great place to learn about living life out loud and in style with disabilities. So check us out.
Well, we certainly will, definitely. So please be sure to check out her site, but you also can book her by visiting greatblackspeakers.com. So make sure you stop by.
That would have been helpful to say, right?
Yeah. No, it's okay. Totally fine. So make sure you stop by at www.greatblackspeakers.com. So if you are interested in having Stephanie come out to speak to your campus, your business events, even to any of your kids that you have, and I'm sure she's probably open to high schools as well, because we've talked a lot about millennials and teens here.
Yes.
So they definitely need to see that image as well. So if you are interested in booking Stephanie Thomas, please visit us at www.greatblackspeakers.com. And while you're there, check out a bit of our blogs as well. We have that information there for you as well. So Great Black Speakers, Shaping Minds, one speech at a time. This is Jessica A. Walker and Stephanie, the wonderful Stephanie of Creatable.com, checking out with you. Please visit us here soon. See you guys later.
Bye.